Let your soul and spirit fly into mystic. Let your soul and spirit fly into mystic. Into mystic. Into mystic. Into mystic.
Good evening and welcome back to Mystic Matters. We are the Greater Mystic Chamber of Commerce. Good evening, Tricia Cunningham.
Good evening, Suzette.
More exciting news from our guest this evening from the Mystic Aquarium, and we welcome her back, Erin Mertz from the Mystic Aquarium.
Welcome,
nice
Erin.
to see you.
Nice to see you.
And Happy New Year, I guess.
I know.
Thank you. I know it's been a while.
It's
It
been a
has. So
while.
welcome back to Mystic Matters.
Thank you.
So tell us all that's good at Mystic Aquarium.
Well, the biggest excitement going around the aquarium is our new Titanic exhibit.
So huge.
So
Very
huge.
Literally.
exciting.
Literally.
And not everyone may not know that 2012 marks the centenary of Titanic's maiden voyage and sinking, so it's very timely.
Yes.
Dr. Robert Ballard, who discovered the Titanic, is based at the aquarium, and he's partnered with his longtime friend and former Disney Imagineer Tim Delaney to put together the most incredible exhibit.
fantastic.
It really is. It's centered on discovery and exploration and all of the values and beliefs of Dr. Ballard and all of the fantastic work he does. And then it has that Disney-esque twist.
I love that Disney-esque.
Yeah,
love that.
it's family-friendly, hands-on, things for all ages.
And can I just interrupt to remind our viewers that this is right here in Mystic. This is an asset, a place for you all to go and to be a part of. I mean, this is, people travel far and wide to come to Mystic Aquarium, so this is wonderful.
Yeah,
Sorry. I just had to remind you all
it's a very valid point.
that we have this here. It's
Well,
amazing.
It's very exciting, and so
Yeah.
you can see the passion even
Yeah.
coming out from Tricia. It's just, I mean, think
It's
about
terrific.
it. The Titanic.
It's huge.
Okay, so go on.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, well, it's a very valid point. I mean, no one else can offer what we're offering. We're so thankful and lucky to have Dr. Ballard involved in our organization. So that really comes through in the exhibit, and you can't find it anywhere else in the world. So it opens
Well, there is
April.
only one person that found the Titanic,
That's true.
and that one person is Dr. Robert Ballard.
Exactly. Exactly. So it opens April 12th. We're gearing up. The exhibit installation is well underway. So we're all very excited.
Wonderful. So
Well,
April
thank
12th.
you, Erin. And again, the Mystic Aquarium is open. Okay, 7 days a week. So, and it's been some great weather. So come on down, and we have other exhibits as well. And it's just a wonderful place to be. So bring your family, bring your friends, bring everybody.
And the website?
MysticAquarium.org.
Very easy.
Erin,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
I'll be here.
Thank you. So
Okay,
a couple
Tricia.
updates on my end. I just wanted to remind everybody that we are doing our Business of the Month nomination. And what this program is an opportunity for you in the community to recognize a business that you're quite fond of in our community of Mystic, Stonington, Groton area. So we have nomination forms on our website, mysticchamber.org, and you can go on there and pick your business and send out the nomination form to us, and we'll see what happens in that business. That lucky business will be recognized for the entire month, and we're going to be doing this monthly, so keep sending us nominations throughout the year. We want to hear from you.
I think that's a fantastic program.
Yeah, it's terrific. It's terrific, and it's an opportunity to recognize our small businesses in our community.
And it's also an opportunity to hear from our residents and customers.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
And what they value about that
Exactly.
small business.
Exactly.
Another thing I just wanted to mention, you guys had heard about my fundraising that I was doing for Terry Broder Breast Cancer Foundation and Hospice of Southeastern Connecticut. And my goal was to raise $5,000. And when I did so, I was going to cut my hair. All right. So I had really long hair and then I cut it.
Should I do a drum
And-
roll?
Sure.
Well, I can't, but I mean,
Okay.
I wanted to.
So insert theoretical drum roll
Okay.
here. My goal was to raise $5,000. I raised $7,000. Now, I did not have to go out and really aggressively
is
ask.
fantastic.
And my point of telling you this is we have a really giving community.
Yes,
we
we
are
do.
very, very fortunate to live in
Yes.
southeastern Connecticut. The businesses in our community, the individuals in our community, I've got anywhere from $5 to $500 from individuals, and all of this makes a difference in people's lives. So I want to thank those that contribute to nonprofits in the area. If you contributed to the fundraiser I did, thank you. But more importantly, to fundraisers for nonprofits all around, they are really an important thread of our community.
Absolutely.
So if you are one of those people, philanthropy is an important piece of our community. So I want to thank those that do continuously give back. If it's by time, money, expert contributions, any of that, it's very important. So thank you.
And I think Trisha's a very good point. First of all, congratulations. That's wonderful because I know you had a goal, and it hasn't surprised me that you succeeded that goal. But the other thing is too, what you do makes you feel good.
Yeah.
So it's kind of,
It does.
it really
That's
does.
why we always feel good.
Just in a little note aside from that, and the good things that Trisha has done, but it's contagious.
Yeah.
It is very, very contagious, and Tricia is right. That's these not-for-profits, and not-for-profits need our help, and the philanthropy work that goes around in this community. It's a tight-knit community. It's sometimes a silent community because what you really didn't advertise it, but all it says to Tricia and to the chamber and to the community is that we support you and we support what you're doing, and we care about the charities that you are working for. So congratulations. But this weekend.
This weekend, really quick, just a quick reminder.
Oh, boy.
Sunday, March 25th,
Yep.
huge
Yep.
Mystic Irish Parade in downtown Mystic.
Right.
More information, go to our website, mysticchamber.org, and you can find a link to their website with all of the all of the information. But it kicks off at 1 o'clock, and their special featured entertainment is going to be Black 47, a great Irish band, and their Grand Marshal is Joyce Resnikoff.
And congratulations.
Yeah, from
Right.
Old Mystic Village. So great choice, bravo, and
Right.
congratulations to Joyce, and we'll see her and all of you on March 25th.
And we'll be there. Wave to us because
Yeah.
I know we'll be waving back.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Tricia, here we are. We've got another guest that's been with us. Well, this is the second time around,
Yep,
I
and
think.
she's
we
got
wanted-
lots of great
Oh, and we've
information.
got to get right to this. And she really isn't a guest; is more like family as well. So, Elizabeth,
thank you.
welcome back. Why don't you
From
tell us?
Mystic Restoration Company.
Yes, yes. And Elizabeth, tell us what you do. Tell us your last name.
It's Elizabeth Sadie.
Okay.
It's Mystic Restoration Company. We've been in the community for a little over a year and a half and love it and aren't moving anytime soon.
Good.
And we do all kinds of remodeling, but really I'd love for you to talk to me individually about that. We've got all kinds of good stuff to cover today.
Excellent.
Well, tell us a little bit. Well, first of all, the last time you were here, you brought us like a little dollhouse. But this time, you didn't bring us that, Elizabeth. But we're glad you're here. Okay,
Thank
with all
you.
this information. But let me ask you something. I'm going to say this first of all. You're here talking about restoration. Mm-hmm. A lot of people say, Elizabeth, what do you know about restoration? You're a woman. Okay, I want to hear about that.
Started it off
Contract,
with that, huh,
yes, I
Susan?
want
She
because
went-
I tell you, I know Elizabeth. She's very knowledgeable. So get into what you do and how you got started.
I met a contractor. I was his insurance agent.
What a
That's
wonderful story.
really how it started. There's nothing quite like that story. I'd love to share it with other people individually. But really, I had a background in construction and then insurance. And then when I married a contractor, all of a sudden I was thrust with a background in customer service into the remodeling industry. And what I noticed immediately is just about nobody did anything with a thought toward, well, if someone doesn't know what you're talking about, it's got to be very hard for them to understand what the whole process is like if they want to do something with their house. And so I started looking at everything as a layperson.
Right.
I don't use jargon like most people do in their industries. I take everything and break it down into the basics. This is what it's called, this is what it looks like, and this is why it matters. And that makes me a good link between the knuckle draggers and
also
homeowners.
how it fits with your family and your lifestyle. I think that's where you come in as well. It fits with, the everyday lifestyle.
It does, and actually I've been telling people for years I'm bilingual. I speak male and female. I do family therapy. I always get a laugh, but it's really true. If you're doing something in your home and you've got a couple, and it could be, a man, a woman, two men, two women, aunts, whoever, but there's more than one person making the decision. They don't have the same ideas. And they need someone to listen to all the ideas and figure out how to make what they really want happen. And that's where asking the right questions really makes a difference. I usually ask, what do you want to do and why do you want to do it? Because that matters too. Because sometimes what they want to do and why they want to do it don't exactly mesh. So if we get to the bottom of what they want to accomplish, sometimes the answer is sort of a different route than they were planning on taking.
So let's say a client comes in and we say, okay, Elizabeth, I've ripped out all of the pages in the House Beautiful magazine. Okay, so, and I've ripped out these swatches and I brought these these paint swatches.
And I listen and watch 8 hours of HGTV a day. Those are
Correct.
my favorites.
So does that help you or does that hurt the process?
It
Bringing in
helps.
photos and things like that.
That's one of my favorite suggestions because let's say I say necklace. What does that mean to you? It might not mean the same thing to
Right,
me.
right.
If I say siding, you might think cedar and I might think vinyl. So
Right.
words sometimes really fail us in communicating. Pictures, fabulous. The first thing I say is, it's a few days before we get together. Could you go find a picture of something like you're talking about? And that makes a huge difference. Have you seen it on the internet or in a magazine, or does your neighbor or friend have what you want? Oh my gosh, that saves us gobs of time. It's wonderful.
Get right down to business. This is
Right.
and help you focus a little bit.
You know, what is it about this picture you like? The color, the style? It's a huge help. It's the number one help in communicating what they really want.
Right, right.
Now, one of the things that you wanted us to focus on today is to help our viewers figure out when they're hiring a contractor, how do they hire a contractor? What's the best process to go through, and how do you manage that?
Well, there are lots of good things that you can do. I suggest by starting with the Chamber of Commerce, the Better Business Bureau, the Department of Consumer Protection. There are resources out there, and there are lots of articles, and there's been a lot of communication on this, and they're all good resources. A good starting point is checking to make sure that if you know anybody that's had the kind of project that you're considering, if you know someone who's had that experience and they've had a good experience, ask them. That's the greatest shortcut in the world. There's really a bunch of things you should do. You should check their insurance, you should check their license, their registration in the state. And all of those are important, and you really should check all of them. But if you don't want to, for heaven's sakes, find somebody who's already done it, take that shortcut and move forward.
So check the references.
Check
Call
their
people that
references.
you've worked with.
Yep, every neighborhood or every group of people has someone that checks everything. I mean, literally everything, because they're meticulous and they're picky. And oh my goodness, if you can get a referral from them, that is golden. That
We've got
is
a few
worth
of
so
those,
much
right?
more.
Yes, yes. Referrals in the small business is better than advertising, hiring a marketing person to do your advertise. Because again, it's the old story, one person tells 10 people. And you know what, good or bad. So, but
Keep that in
still,
mind,
keep
yeah.
that in mind when you're servicing your product and things like that. But so they call their references and they, let's say, oh, it's great, and blah, blah, blah. And they don't want to really speak money. You know, they don't want to talk money because a lot of times that's a private thing when you're saying, oh, how much did that bathroom cost you? Wow, you know.
True.
You know, because your bathroom is not the same as their bathroom. So let's say they want that, exactly what their neighbor has and exactly what their friend. Can you realistically do that for them and within the price range that they have in mind? Or do you work it where you can get something like that and bring them down to a level and say, hey, listen, that price range is not going to be sufficient?
Well, that's where the communication comes in. What I've been doing for years is taking advantage of a tool I have, and I actually brought it just to show. It's a cost versus value report, and the reason why this matters is this is a report that comes out every year with Remodeling Magazine, and it gives an approximate cost average for our exact geographic area for certain kinds of projects. What's wonderful about that is if someone has absolutely, literally no idea what it costs to do a project, and their only ideas are from watching HGTV where they say, I got these products for $500 and it only took 3 days, and the 12 experienced carpenters that worked for free to do this project, then they don't have a realistic idea, and that happens
You
all
are
the time.
absolutely correct.
So what I've started doing is taking a neutral third party and providing a list of, if you want this approximate project, this is what it costs realistically in our area, and this is about how much you get as a return on your investment, and that's important too. If somebody's going to do a big project, now bathrooms, I'm a huge fan of bathroom remodeling. We use our bathrooms every day, kitchens, areas you're using all the day,
Right.
all the time. Absolutely remodel them, but have some idea what you're going to get back if you sell your house in 3 to 5 years. If it's a big project, check with a good realtor.
Right.
A realtor will tell you, well, an indoor pool is a great idea, but you'll get 25 cents on the dollar for what you invest. A good
Pools
bathroom
in
remodel. But
Right.
my special project might not be the same as your special project, and you may, the next person may not like it. So
Right. Or you're putting this wonderful bathroom into a house that is just not, that's the only thing nice about it would be the bathroom. That happens too.
That happens
or kitchen,
too.
You know what I mean? You're putting in an investment in this wonderful huge kitchen, but the area or the house doesn't really warrant it as far as 10 years down the line or 3 to 5 years down the line, like you said.
sometimes the remodeled area doesn't look like it belongs in the home, and we really try to discourage anything that's that dramatic unless the decision is made to move forward. If you've got a colonial, really there are certain styles that won't look as good in your home.
Exactly.
And we've had people that have remodeled bathrooms that were just really out there and funky and fun, and you open the door and it's like, wow, what house am I in? and that does not help resale. It really
No.
doesn't. And
Right.
you should do things because it makes your home more attractive and comfortable and functional, but with an eye to selling, because most people don't create homesteads and stay in them for 100 years with their
Right.
children and grandchildren. You really have to have some vague idea of if this is too far out, if I'm going to have to undo all this in order to sell my home. And really, if you're not getting any of the money back, you might want to think twice about it. I've
Right.
encouraged more people to move than to remodel.
Right. So, what do legitimate contractors? What should they be providing, or what will they provide?
Well,
Legitimate contractors.
legitimate contractors will not cash discounts. Please don't deal with anybody that gives cash discounts. There's a reason for that. The folks that only want to work nights and weekends, please walk away from them. There's a reason for that. But contractors should be registered. They should give you their registration number with the state of Connecticut or Rhode Island or wherever you live. But that is really critical, because if you're doing a project and something dramatic happens, the contractor dies or is injured or just walks away with your money, who knows. If the project doesn't get done, but if you've hired a registered contractor, the state of Connecticut has a fund that they'll step in and they'll help you finish your project, and that is just a huge.
That's really important for people to know.
Right.
So between that, you really want a copy of their insurance. You want a certificate of insurance made out in your own name. That lets the insurance company know that they're doing work at your house. That's absolutely huge as well. But you might want to go an extra step and call the insurance agent and find out if that kind of work is covered by their policy. Now, I've known several people in my own family that have hired people and have really been stuck. One had a roof that was done. They were halfway done with a project. They tarped the roof, and during the night, the tarp fell off, and half of the house was so soaked with water that it took 71 days of them living in a hotel for the home to be repaired. Why does that matter? Well, they did get a certificate of insurance, but when they called to make a claim, roofing was not included in the policy. It was specifically excluded. So not only did the contractor not do a good job or protect their business, their home, but he actually lied about what he had for coverage. So a little homework goes a long way. So you absolutely want a certificate of insurance in your name. You want to check, make sure they don't have any complaints with the Department of Consumer Protection or the Better Business Bureau. We're big fans of people that are members of the Better Business Bureau, and And really, someone you can communicate with, because you're making a change to your home, you're inviting them in with your family and your pets and everything. And one little funny thing, if your dog really doesn't like that contractor, there's a reason.
Yeah. And what about a contract? Should you have a signed contract with a contractor?
If it's
Is that
more-
typical? Is that, what's the process for that?
Well, that goes back to the legitimate contractor. A legitimate contractor is going to follow all the guidelines set by law, including listing the beginning and end of the project, listing payment schedules, very specific details about what's going to be done, when it's going to be done, what the materials are, things like whether or not a building permit is included or a dumpster and things like that, and what cleanup means.
Oh, cleanup is
Cleanup.
huge.
What
Cleanup
cleanup
is
means.
huge.
It is. And really things like
That just,
Well, and what about,
back
because a
some
lot of
memories.
contractors use subcontractors. So, you got into the insurance, and we're talking about insurance, we're talking about contracts. How do you, as the individual who's hiring these people, manage the subcontractors? Because it's really not for you to manage, but how do you protect yourself when a subcontractor is involved?
well, you shouldn't have to be an expert to hire a contractor. However, if you're hiring a general contractor, and that's just a nice way of saying the person in charge that makes sure everybody else does what they're supposed to do. Kitchen bathroom remodeling involves a plumber, electrician, and you really want to be sure that they're insured as well. And your general contractor, the person you're dealing directly with, should have proof that those individuals are insured as well. Because you have to have a separate license in most states to do plumbing or electrical work, and those are the most common subcontractors. So ask for proof of all these things.
Okay. All right.
that's great.
And there's another one thing that we've been talking about and hearing more in recent times is issues with lead in older homes. And this is a subject matter that I don't know anything about. So I was hoping this is something that perhaps you can enlighten us and our viewers on.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because lead has been such a hot topic lately. In April of 2011, new laws took place that set very stringent standards for contractors and required that they take an 8-hour course on how to handle any home that might have some lead in it. And there are 1 million children in the United States right now under the age of 18 who have been verified to have lead poisoning, and the biggest culprit is lead paint. So any home built prior to 1978 must be tested in the area the work is going to be done prior to any work occurring. And most homes built prior to 1960 do have lead paint in them.
Are these things, when there's a purchase of a house, is that something that happens in the inspection and doing a testing? Or no, that doesn't happen until some kind of construction happens?
I would say that was when it found out.
Well, the trick with this is you have to assume that there's lead there if it's not pre-1978. And there's some contractors who have chosen to not even bother to become certified because they have literally chosen to only work on homes newer than 1978. And
So may I ask where you fall in that line as
oh,
a contractor?
we're fully registered with
Okay.
the Environmental Protection Agency, and the thing is that the guidelines are so stringent now. If you disturb even 6 square feet, or the size of a standard window, if you will, then that falls under the guidelines, or that's inside, and outside is 20 square feet, which is the size of like a bay or a bow window. So you're not talking about a huge area, and even if you think someone's not going to be scraping or touching the paint, let's say you hire somebody to put vinyl siding over your wood siding, that's okay, but if those contractors aren't certified for lead, then if they come across something where the wood is damaged and they have to replace it, now all of a sudden they are touching it and they are disturbing it. And the reason why it matters is it's very hard to contain it when you disturb it, and the dust is what contains all the lead. You don't want anybody ingesting it or breathing it in. And the process is really extensive because you need to test the area, and then if lead is identified, then there's a whole enclosure that has to be built out of plastic, and The contractors and everybody that steps foot on the project needs to be wearing a Tyvek suit with a respirator, and this makes it miserable in the summer, literally reduces how effective they are. And the EPA is a wonderful website, epa.gov. There's lots of good information. The one piece of information I absolutely don't agree with is they make a suggestion what the average cost is for each job in order to comply with the lead rules, and really they're way off. It's between $350 and $1,000. And you as an individual can hire a contractor that's not lead certified. It's the contractor that's held responsible because they're the ones that are supposed to know better.
Right.
You can work at your home without following these guidelines, and you can hire somebody that's not certified, but why would you do that and put somebody at risk? And here's the thing, if you're...
Well, we'd be putting ourselves at risk, 'cause
Right.
we'd still be living in the house, you know?
Well, yes, and
Right?
the biggest concern is for children under the age of 6 or
Yes.
pregnant women.
Yes,
They're much more susceptible
Yes.
to this. It causes brain damage and learning disabilities and all kinds of health issues. But the guidelines are very strict, and it's very expensive to follow them. However, you do it for the same reason why you hire somebody that's registered, why you hire somebody that's insured. It's for your protection and your family's protection.
Now, if you're not doing any major changes to your house, is it something that you should still be concerned with?
Anybody that walks through the door should be familiar with these guidelines, because you don't know if you're planning on just making a minor change and all of a sudden it's necessary to do more. Then all of a sudden it falls under those guidelines, even if you hadn't planned for it. And older homes, this is really key, because most of the homes in Mystic are 1960 or older.
Older.
There's
Yeah.
some that are 1978 or older. I mean, probably 95% of them fall under those guidelines. And it's very easy to find a registered contractor, and it's so important to follow those guidelines.
Well, Elizabeth, thank you for this information. The show went by so fast, but very, very interesting information, and we appreciate you coming on board to educate us as well. So thank you, Elizabeth. Tricia, I'm going to see you this weekend in a car for the Mystic Irish Parade. Hopefully we're in a car. If not, you'll see us walking.
And one quick question before we go.
Yes.
I would just like Elizabeth to say what her website is.
Absolutely.
Oh, mysticrest.com.
And it's up on the screen, so if you need that, you can look up more information on her and her business on mysticrest.com, and anything else you want to mention.
There are links to great articles about this, about hiring a contractor. So if you missed anything, go to the website. There are links to all the things you want to know. Good.
Great. Well, good evening, Elizabeth. Good evening, Tricia.
Good evening, Suzette.
We are Mystic Matters. We'll see you next week. Thank you.
Into Mystic. Let your soul and spirit fly into Mystic. Into Mystic. Into Mystic.